Ok, j'ai oublié de... J'ai oublié de faire ça. Ok, good. Ok, bon, chat, je suis en train de manger. Du coup, on va mettre des vidéos et on va chill ce soir. On va chill. YouTube. Tranquille. C'est tranquille. C'est tranquille. Ok. Hmm. What? Rar. Ok. Hmm. On met quelle vidéo là? Non mais celle-là. Un peu de basketball.
피부에 파울 없는 면도 지금 질레트 파워를 써보세요.
질레트 파워 온. 피부 압력을 줄이고 미세 진동으로 자극 없이 파워 온. 따가움 오프. 질레트 파워.
Hmm. Ah non. Non, merci.
So Russ is out of a job in the NBA,
Good.
or at least before this clip came out, and Pat Bev decided to tell the truth. And it's all the Lakers' fault.
It's fucked up what happened to Russ, bro. On God. It's fucked up what happened to Russ. And Russ got a bad take because of that Lakers team. Ever since Russ left the Lakers, bro, he's been on a minimum, bro. We've never seen this ever. We've never seen a player who's been the MVP, who's impacted the game, who they call him names and tell me he can't shoot, go to the playoffs, shoot 40% with the Clippers the very next year.
What? When did he shoot 40? You telling me the things in which he did back in 2017 and we're in 2025 is irrelevant. But to sit here and to blame the Lakers when he's already been off of the Lakers and on other teams and they still put him on the bench, at some point you have to ask yourself, why is that? And what's even worse is that he's on other rosters that actually fit his playing style better, and they still deem it necessary to put him on the bench. Let's further point out the fact that when he left the Lakers, bro, he had a starting position with the Clippers. He was starting as soon as he left the Lakers with the Clippers, started the following season, and then they got James Harden. And then they realized it actually makes more sense for us to put Russ on the bench instead of having Harden and Russ in the backcourt with one another.
Wow.
So is that a Laker problem, or is that a Clippers promised him a starting position and they got a better starting point guard and decided to put him on the bench? Because that's what makes the most sense. Secondly, overall, bro, Russ is 37 years old. If Russ is coming off the bench or is having a hard time finding a position in the NBA at 37 years old, it's not that big of a deal, dog.
A less demeaning role with the Lakers, take a less demeaning role with the Clippers. He's been a sixth man ever since he's left the Lakers. He's a starting point guard in the NBA. He's arguably one of the top 3 point guards to ever play the game. You tell me this man can't get on the team?
Non, man.
All because he's passionate. All because he stretches with the team every single fucking practice. All because if it's a team out and he's there all the fucking time.
Bro, I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I don't know. I mean, this should be blowing me. Because now we're deciding to omit certain aspects of what happened with Russ in his time with some of these teams. As passionate as he is, as great as a teammate, because I'm pretty sure he's a really great teammate. I don't know. I'm not in the locker rooms, so I can't say that. I'm going to take the player's word for it. Great teammate as well. That still does not take away or change what he could contribute on a team as a starting point guard. So when people make this claim, it's not just that Russ is a starting point guard, it's that he wants to be on a specific team. Because the truth of the matter is, Russ still could have been on a roster right now before he just signed with the Kings. As a sidebar, quick spoiler alert, Pat Bev, he finally found a job with the Kings. So all this ranting and raving you doing when it was already rumored that he was going to sign with the Kings for the last handful of months anyway. But I digress. Russ could have been on a team, but he chose not to stay with the Denver Nuggets. But he was already signed with the Nuggets. He had a player option, and he chose to take himself off that roster. But when y'all sit here and say he could be a starter for any team in the NBA, which teams? Go down the list of teams and the teams that he would also want to be on. I'm not taking him over Darius Garland. I'm not taking him over Shea. Houston literally cannot sign him. Matter of fact, Cleveland can't sign him. Cleveland can't. That's another thing that people we've never seen it before. You've also never seen a CBA that restricts teams so much so that they can't sign someone like Russ. The only team that would have the cap space to give him the money that he's looking for are bottom-feeding teams. And so then you have to ask yourself, hey, does Russ want to play in Brooklyn? Does Russ want to play in Utah? Probably not, especially the way they've been treating him over his career. There's several teams out there that sure Russ could play for, but does he want to play for those bottom-feeding teams just so he can say he gets a certain amount of money? If not, then he's going to have to receive a vet minimum.
How do you mean the Lakers fucked it up?
I mean, like, they gave him a bad rep. And this is the city where he from.
The fans?
I think I think this period, the Lakers, his tenure with the Lakers gave him a bad rep. They put this narrative on this man. They calling this man Westbrook, bro. This man, kids got to go to school and go through all this shit. This man is the only motherfucker who's an average a triple-double 2 years in a row.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I do believe calling him out of his name is a bit excessive. I do believe that, the way in which they depict him out in L.A., claim that the vampire is out of the room, that was also a bit excessive. However, none of those things change the fact that Westbrook, it was just a bad fit for the Lakers. He couldn't shoot. At that time, he wasn't that great of an off-ball player. He was a predominantly ball-dominant player playing next to another ball-dominant player in LeBron and couldn't compliment really much of anyone. So it's not that he got a bad rep just because the way in which people were depicting him, but it was also because of his play. And the truth of the matter is, I'm going to be honest with you all, I blame people like Pat Bev and everybody else who enabled Russ all throughout those years when he was averaging a triple-double. Yeah. Oh, man. On paper, it's great. It's amazing. He averaging a triple-double. But I remember vividly in real time, I was telling people, y'all are allowing this man to play a style of basketball that we all know is not going to age well. We all know is not going to contribute to winning basketball at a very large scale. And we all knew that Russ was never good enough to be the best player on a championship caliber roster. So more than likely, he was going to have to pick up more skills that were going to be featured along someone else, be a contributing piece, someone that could play alongside someone, not someone who could dominate the basketball in ways in which Russ did. We knew that, and yet you all still egged on him averaging triple-double. So is it the people that's calling him Westbrook after he's missing the shots, or is it people who are massaging his ego the entire time and not correcting him and letting him know, hey, all this shit is great, but you can actually be more impactful if you become a better defender, if you become a better shooter, if you tone down the turnovers. But y'all turn a blind eye to all of that shit because of points, rebounds, and assists when we all knew that none of that shit was going to help him win a championship. None of that shit was going to help him win when he got older and he needed to be more of a complimentary piece rather than the main guy. We knew this day was coming, but you niggas continue to put the battery in this nigga back.
I think that his play style didn't fit with LeBron's play style.
Okay,
Is
cool.
that fair to say?
That's fair to say, but don't diminish his character then.
I'm not trying to diminish his character.
And that's what a lot of people did.
Well, I think it goes with the fact that I think his play style went well with the Denver play style.
It went well with the Clippers play style. When every motherfucker got hurt, he was a motherfucker shooting 40 from the. He was 40 from the motherfucking three.
What world is this nigga talking about where he shot 40 from three? Maybe I'm missing out on something. We gotta double check this right now. 2023 with the Clippers, shot 35.7% from three, and the next year he shot 23.5% from three. Westbrook has never had, except for his rookie season, Westbrook has never had a year where he shot 40% from three in the playoffs.
You got to think, dog. I was on that team. I'm on that team where shit ain't going well, and I'm also a part of that team in the summertime when Darvin Ham comes up to me while I'm in the casino and baccarat, and Darvin Ham goes to me like, "Do you got Russell Westbrook's number?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got it," but out loud I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "Yeah, I need to talk to him, man. I fucked up. Y'all was right."
You
Yeah,
wanted to call
motherfucker.
Russ?
We was right. We was telling you, like, motherfucker, we the dogs. Like, we know what it takes to, like, okay, we know what it takes to, like, to go in and be competitive. Russell Westbrook should have started with that team. It should be Anthony Davis, should have been LeBron James, it should have been Austin Reeves, should have been myself, it should have been Russ before Schroeder came in.
Listen to what the fuck this nigga is saying. They should have ran a lineup with LeBron, AD, Reeves, Pat Bev, and Russ. They should have ran a 3-guard lineup. Are we fucking serious? That if that's your response, be very mindful. Be very mindful. As soon as the Lakers traded both Pat Bev and Russ, they went to the conference finals. Some shit that Russ ain't been to since he played with KD. And this nigga, Pat Bev, come to find out, this nigga has never been on a team that's made the conference finals while he has been playing major minutes. Never. Never. Every time the team has made a conference finals that Pat Bev has been on, either he got hurt and wasn't contributing, or when they put him on the bench is when they got to the conference finals. But because we got to placate to a nigga ego and sit there and tell him, "Oh, we gonna play you, we gonna play you." Now we got someone like Austin Reeves who's just sitting on the bench, and we're pushing back his development because we got to play into veterans' egos. That's the problem. That's the problem. When you have someone like Russ on your team, you got to sit here and try to justify playing him over someone that you actually have more value in their future than Westbrook, who's 37 years old. Why am I going to give playing time to a 37-year-old when you got a 22, 23, 24-year-old on your bench that's actually looking like he can be better and a better fit for what this roster needs? Why the fuck am I doing that? Why? Because 10 years ago, you made an all-star game? Why? Because 11 years ago, you was an all-NBA player? Or because on a whole nother team with a losing record, you had a triple-double? That's why? What the fuck that got to do with where we are today?
Coming from a place he's from, though. That's what make it even sadder. He's from Cali. Went to UCLA. That's what make it even worse. How the fuck y'all got this motherfucker who's from Cali, went to UCLA, got a chance to play for the Lakers, got a chance to play for the Clippers, right? Took the Clippers to the motherfucking playoffs. So every motherfucker was hurt. Was one of the main factors of winning when it came to Denver. Impacting a ton off the bench. Should have been a starter. It actually, if they would have played him game 4 or game 5, which one of them at OKC? He was guarding Shea. They probably would have had a chance to win the series.
What? Attends. Il vient de dire que si Westbrook défendait sur Shea, ils auraient peut-être gagné.
There's no way this nigga is claiming
Impossible.
that Denver could have beaten OKC if they played Russ more minutes. Oh my God. Russ played 21 minutes in the game, shot 2 for 7, 4 turnovers, and was a minus 34 in this game, bro. Be very mindful, Pat Bev. You were the one who told me that you look at plus and minus to figure out who was or wasn't good in the game. Russ had the worst plus minus out of everyone on Denver that game. The truth of the matter is, this really and truly, in my mind, does not tarnish Russ's career because he's 37. His legacy is not going to be tarnished because at 37, he was struggling to find a place in the league. My nigga, he's 37. The simple fact that we even talking about this nigga at 37 getting a job in the league, that in and of itself is amazing. How many niggas in the league history at 37 can even say they on the brink of getting a fucking job? That's amazing. So no, I'm not going to sit here and allow you niggas to rewrite the end of Russ's career, nor am I going to sit here and allow niggas to sit here and blame anybody else but Russ and the niggas who allowed him to just pacify into a nigga that cannot compliment much of any team in the NBA. You niggas did that.
Eh bah, il est un peu énervé le petit rat.
대상.
L is for the way you look.
C'est fini. Low post. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a d'autre? Cooper flag.
Oh boy, NBA season right around the corner, and I've been fiending for some basketball. So much so that this is the most amount of preseason games that I have consumed in my entire life. And I have to say, there's some pretty doggone good hoops and a lot of takeaways from these random exhibition games. Shout out to LaMelo Ball and the Charlotte Hornets. They were a fun watch, and they're going to continue to be a fun watch. Khalil Ware is positioned to take a massive leap in his sophomore season, so buy up as much stock as you can of Khalil Ware out in Miami. As a Laker fan, not the greatest preseason. I must admit, Austin Reeves looked really explosive. Gabe Vincent gave me some solid minutes, but Dawson Connect, boy, that trade value keeps going down every single time you miss a shot. DeAndre Ayton, my goodness, all you have to do is be a starting caliber center, and I don't even know if you're going to be able to do that. And then we learned that LeBron is going to be out until mid-November, so there's that as well. However, easily my biggest takeaway is how impressed I was with some of these young players that was literally just drafted a few months ago. Shout out to Dylan Harper. He had a lot of explosive moments in the preseason games. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Yang Heinsohn. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly, but he looked great. I ain't gonna lie, right? He looked really, really great. I understand why people are comparing him to Jokic. And obviously, this rookie class, and more importantly, this rookie season, will be headlined by Ace Bailey and Cooper Flagg, both of which looked really, really, really good during these preseason outings. Now, I was going to make a video about Ace Bailey and how great he looks because, bro, he had a lot of really great film, off-ball shooting, really explosive at the basket, and if I were to believe that his defensive motor can be slightly more consistent, I would very easily say that he's going to be better than Cooper Flagg coming out the gate. However, I think it's irresponsible to jump to those conclusions, especially because Ace only gave us 2 preseason games, so he got to give us a little bit more footage in that. But I'm going to be honest with you, it's some good footage. Even though it's just 2 games, it's a lot of really, really good footage, and I'm excited to see what he's going to look like in his upcoming season in Utah. But then there's Cooper Flagg. Now, I already knew that I was going to be impressed with him heading into this year coming out of Duke. Also had really great moments in Summer League as well, putting him on a roster with a bunch of veterans on the defensive side of the floor that was truly going to maximize him on that side of the ball. Of course, the ceiling was slightly higher than your average rookie, especially defensively. But what I've seen so far in preseason has really exceeded my expectations and has me wondering how impressive he can be early on playing legitimate minutes in the NBA. Now, some people may say
il est bon en défense,
this
le
a
petit
little
haut,
bit
donc.
too much because if you look at his numbers, what he posted in the preseason in the 4 games, they're not that impressive from a points, rebounds, and assists standpoint. And truth be told, Cooper Flagg isn't going to post up crazy points, rebounds, and assist numbers, especially because offensively, he is extremely limited. Now, his IQ is extremely high, and he knows his limitations, so he's still going to get easy buckets. He's great in transition, great on closeout, and he was a really confident shooter in these preseason outings. So those are all things that are in his arsenal. Now, they did try him out at the point guard position during Utah, and you can clearly see his limitations as an advantage creator, not only for himself, but for others as well. So that's not who he is. That's not his bag at all. And I do believe because of his lack of offensive repertoire, it's going to be the biggest reason why many people are not going to be that high on him when they just glance at the box score. But it's all the other things, especially on the defensive side of the floor, that has me very intrigued on what this young player is going to look like early on in his career. First, starting as an off-ball defender, Cooper uses his size and length pretty consistently to properly rotate,
Il est bon.
helping out at rim protection or tagging a rolling big and then closing out properly. Also, Cooper was really
Ils ont une
good
bonne
on
défense,
passing
du coup,
lanes, regardless if it was
avec
baseline
Cooper
cuts
et
or just
Anthony Davis,
roaming
etc.
around helping on a rolling big. Of course, this will result in live ball turnovers, which can then translate into easy transition points. And at his height and size and athleticism, he's a great lob threat running out in the break. And speaking of transition on the defensive side, that's where you can see even more of his motor and competitive nature. He consistently didn't give up on plays, ran with offensive players, even cutting them off at times, making it more difficult for them to get easy looks. And just overall, his knack and feel off the ball as a defender.
Ouais, genre il a un bon instinct et tout.
On that side of the floor,
Du coup, ça aide beaucoup en défense.
Anthony Davis and Derek Lively, you know, really good defenders. And I do believe this is also a huge reason why so many people are really high on what this defensive team is going to look like moving forward. Pairing Cooper Flag in the front court with AD, Daniel Gafford when he comes back, Derek Lively, PJ Washington is going to be a really tall and formidable front court that will be able to switch and rotate with the best of them. And that's something that Cooper also provides on the perimeter as well. His switchability, or at least defending guards at times, was much more impressive than I thought as an on-ball defender. And it wasn't just his ability to kind of cut off a driving lane, because in many instances, he's not really defending the best perimeter player on the opposing team. And also, quite frankly, preseason games, there really weren't that many great on-ball players. However, what I did love out of Cooper was his tenacity to fight over screens, regardless if that was on ball or having to fight over multiple chasing someone down. Even if he gave up a little bit too much space,
je sais pas s'il va pouvoir gagner
shooting the gaps, still contesting, or being able to trail an offensive player all the way to the basket and erase an easy layup. Again, all of these things.
Le Rookie of the Year, parce que si il est incroyable, mais il n'a pas les stats, les gens ils vont dire il n'a pas les stats, et du coup ils vont le donner à l'un autre. Donc ça peut être chiant. Moi j'aime bien les joueurs assez défensifs, du coup c'est sympa, tu vois, c'est sympa de voir jouer.
Against Charlotte, when he was on the floor, he had a defensive rating of 100, and when he was on the floor against Utah, he had a defensive rating of 90. Now, against the Lakers, his defensive rating was certainly high. It was really high, and also that was the only game we had a negative plus-minus. However, the only reason why his defense didn't look that good, at least on paper, in terms of his defensive rating, is because Gabe Vincent starts smacking threes left and right, which is an anomaly, and people shouldn't take that as an indication of him being a good or bad defender. If you were watching the game, you can clearly see he is still a very positive defender every single possession. And these are all things that can show up on a box score in some capacity, but there's also many other things that just won't show up from time to time. Several incidences where Cooper is running out there and jumping with big men fighting for rebounds. Speaking of rebounds, he's also very aware and cautious to make sure that the player that he is defending does not box him out and out hustle him to get offensive boards as well, which is something that is really great, especially from a team like the Lakers. I watch him all the time, and for whatever reason, that's just a problem. But Cooper, at a very young age, already identifies the value of not allowing offensive boards, which is really great. And as an on-ball defender, even if he's not the greatest against some smaller guards, he's still very much so willing, which is more than
il est quand même assez grand, donc contre les petits, ouais, ça peut être un peu compliqué, mais il va s'améliorer.
He's going to really show a lot of promise, but the problem is on the defensive side of the floor, it always doesn't get awarded accordingly, and this is the problem that I think many people are going to run into as the season continues to progress. Again, offensively, Cooper is very limited. I don't want people to get all crazy about a couple of highlights where he dribbled behind his back and scored on LaMelo Ball, or a couple of crazy jump shots that knocked down because he hit a fadeaway. That's not his game. If you watch that game against Utah when he was asked to be a shot creator, that's just not in his bag. He's very limited in those regards. And the truth of the matter is, I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes rookie season only averaging around 12 to 15 points, especially because he's on a roster that already has a lot of veterans who are much more capable offensive players than he is. More than likely, he's going to run in transition,
par rapport à Ice
closeouts,
Bailey,
and as time continues to progress,
voilà, ça va être
shooting will become
vraiment différent.
well, so he can
Ice
not
Bailey
only
est
knock
beaucoup plus
down
offensif.
open corner threes, but potentially be a little bit more fluid in terms of DHO action if it starts to pan out in that fashion. Then you have a putback off of an offensive rebound, quick little dump in, cutting to the basket, bada boom, bada bing, 12 to 15 points on a roster that, again, is not going to prioritize him offensively whatsoever. It's a huge reason why I don't really buy into the Jason Tatum comps, because Tatum offensively, in my opinion, was much more fluid coming into the NBA. It's also a huge reason why I don't buy into the Scottie Pippen comps, even though Scottie coming into the league potentially was as raw as Cooper offensively, but as time continued to progress, the the Scotty that we know is a much better ball handler, playmaker, passer, decision maker than Cooper comes across as right now.
감기다 싶으면 테라플루 한 잔. 효과는 느낌은 따뜻하게 스며들어 감기를 빠르게 따뜻한 한 잔.
The comp that I see from Cooper is a young Kawhi. Someone who keeps the game simple, who's going to hustle, get his points out in transition, and
Kawhi,
really
Kawhi, c'est
thrive playing alongside a system that push a lot of ball movement and passing. And Cooper, as a passer, isn't the greatest in terms of being able to create advantages, but if you just need him to make the proper reads, he can do that as well. He did that in transition, he did that when the defense collapsed on him. He can make a few simple reads, but not enough for anything sophisticated enough to even put him in conversations with Scottie Pippen,
trop de ces games, du coup je peux pas dire, mais s'il dit ça, c'est que vraiment il est chaud.
Finishing off around at most 3 to 4 assists, even at his absolute best. Now, this is not a knock to Cooper, it's setting expectations accordingly and what to look for in terms of how to properly evaluate him. Because I know for a fact we're going to get into the regular season, he's going to have really bad stretches offensively just because he's more than likely going to hit the rookie wall and people are going to start to question who he is as a player. And before we get to that point, I want everyone to gauge their expectations accordingly. This is a defensive-oriented wing that is hyper-competitive on that side of the floor, on and off ball, shows a lot of value as a roamer, an anticipator in the pass lane, and all around just a quality big body wing. Offensively, he's a more complementary piece that's going to take a longer time to get to superstar status on that side. So don't anticipate him having monstrous 20-point nights. Even that game where he put up 30 points in Summer League, it's a lot of just driving straight to the basket. It's a lot of running out in transition. It's a lot of I'm just bigger and stronger than all these other young players who are around my age. You get in the NBA, you're going up against players who are veterans, who are just as big, just as tall, just as fast as you are. And so the advantages that you had throughout your collegiate career and in Summer League just won't be there. So I'm letting you know now, gauge your expectations because offensively, Cooper's not there yet. But defensively, he's really pieced it together. It's a really great foundation.
Ça peut être pas mal du coup, parce qu'ils ont une team très défensif.
Is not going to be in the points column. It's going to be in the wins column and what he looks like defensively alongside AD and company. And that alone is the reason why I do genuinely believe he's going to make a legitimate case for Rookie of the Year. But Ace Bailey will probably end up winning it just because of the gaudy numbers he's probably going to put up in contrast to Cooper Flag. That's just my opinion. However, the point of this video is just to let you know I am very impressed. Cooper's motor defensively, very attractive, and who he is a complimentary player on both sides of the floor will really help a Mavericks team that's trying to make a playoff appearance. So hopefully Cooper Flag, you continue to impress me and many others, and I hope that a lot of people really understand the true value of who you are as a player, even if it doesn't show up.
Faut mettre plus de respect
that's my time. Please let me know your thoughts about Cooper Flag moving into the NBA season. Also, hit the subscribe button
plus de respect pour les joueurs défensifs.
On Tuesday, we will be pushing out more videos on this channel, and until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.
Parfait. Légende Arceus avec Pichu.
Pichu might be cute, but it is a terrible Pokemon. Of all the Pokemon in Legends Arceus, Pichu has the lowest health stat and the 4th lowest defense. So it's incredibly frail, and its other stats don't make up for that, with Pichu having the 5th lowest stat total in the entire game. So I wanted to see if just one little Pichu could beat all of Pokemon Legends Arceus by itself. Could Pichu go all the way against some of the toughest opponents in the entire series? And does Pichu have a hidden dark side? Well, let's find out. Pichu and I tumble from the sky. We meet Professor Laverton, who's instantly seduced
En vrai, il n'y a pas
by
grand
Pichu's
chose
cuteness.
à
Well,
battre
no
dans
one
les
with
gens
a
d'Arceus.
Pokemon this cute could
C'est juste capturer
possibly
des
be
Pokémon, non?
evil. Exactly! We successfully infiltrated the village and apparently agreed to help fill the Pokedex. Sure, but my Pokedex is literally just gonna be cute Pichu pics. Anyway, I want to know which Pichu you think is cutest. Like for Ukulele Pichu, subscribe for Manga Pichu, or comment for Hoenn Pichu. That night, a lightning bolt mysteriously struck that would bring great terror to the people of Hisui, but that's probably not important. Anyway, the professor offers me one of 3 starters, but these Pokemon all suffer from the same problem. They're not Pichu. With my true starter secured, now we could really begin the challenge. Our first battle is against Volo, whose only Pokemon is a little egg, so this should be easy, right? Well, despite this being the battle that is meant to be impossible to lose, I nearly lost. A Thundershock does laughable damage to Togepi before it fires back with a tackle, taking more than half of my health. I definitely would have lost on the next turn if Pichu didn't clutch up and paralyze Togepi with its next Thundershock. The paralysis bought me one more turn, and I was able to just scrape by with the win. That fight is meant to be the easiest in the entire game, and we still almost lost. Straight away, I thought there was no way that Pichu would be able to beat full teams of powerful Pokemon, but I wanted to see just how far we could go. Our trial to join the Survey Corps requires us to catch a Bidoof, but this one's a little big, so let's find a smaller one. Yeah, that's much better. Now, I will need to catch other Pokemon to progress the story, but I can only use my Pichu in battle. This Shinx has an aggressive disposition. Could you already tell that? I mean, yeah, it does sound pretty mad. We catch the Shinx, and Akari gives us her best rendition of a YouTube React thumbnail. I'm still curious why you came falling from the sky like you did. Oh, you'll find out soon enough. What was that? Nothing. Never mind. Since our Pichu is so weak, I electrocuted some Starly until we were at level 10. Luckily, Silene thought that our Pichu dex was cute enough to warrant a rank up to the first star. The next day, Akari challenges us to a battle, which is fine by me. I wonder what Pokemon she has. Oh dear God, it's Pichu's nemesis! Mr. I'm so good just because I'm the Pokemon mascot. Well, we'll see about that. It was a battle of the electric mice. Problem is, Pikachu definitely has us covered in the stat department. Akari immediately used a quick attack, which almost killed Pichu in one shot. But in response, Pichu charged up a powerful attack and... so I got slapped around. It's only the second battle, and we've already lost. Cool. But I wasn't going to give up. I rebooted the game, and this time challenged Akari with my Pichu at level 15. The start of the fight goes the same as last time, with Pikachu landing a huge quick attack.
Mais sa quick attack, elle fait trop mal, non? J'ai l'impression. Après, oui, mais quand même s'il a pas de défense, là, ça fait mal.
Move. So this time, I use an agile quick attack, which gives me a second consecutive turn, which I then use to land one more quick attack, giving us the win over Hisui's second best electric mouse. The professor said that Pokemon have these things called types. Oh geez, I lost to someone who doesn't even know that the type chart exists? That's embarrassing. How's the plan going, Keegan? Smooth so far. Continue pretending that we just met until the time is right. From here, the game does not get any easier, because as soon as we cross this bridge, Mai forces us into a battle with Munchlax. This thing is a behemoth. It's super bulky and has a solid attack stat that can abuse poor Pichu's low defense. But I got insanely lucky here. I knew I couldn't strong-arm Munchlax, so instead paralyzed it with Thunder Wave. This means that each turn, there's a chance that Munchlax won't be able to move, and that's exactly what happened. So this gave me time to land an agile quick attack before Munchlax was paralyzed again. This means I can land 2 Thunder Shocks, bringing Munchlax to low HP. Then it was paralyzed for a 3rd turn in a row. Pichu really is blessed. One more Thunder Shock got Munchlax into the red, but then this happened.
안녕하세요, 립제입니다. 저에게 데님은요, 제가 수년간 쳐왔었.
Tactical nuke incoming!
Il se fait one shot comme ça?
Even with all that luck, all it took was a single tackle from Munchlax to punt my Pichu into next week. So I raised Pichu to level 18 and gave it a power boost by throwing a bunch of grit dust at it, before returning to rematch Mai. I still need a lot of luck with Munchlax being paralyzed, but the difference is that this time I can survive at least one tackle. And with Munchlax being paralyzed on the following turn, I can land 2 more Thunder Shocks to finally give us the win. Oh, he looks so sad. I kinda feel bad now. You see, I need someone to deal with an alpha Pokemon causing trouble, and you came to the guy with just a Pichu? Of course, it is the cutest Pokemon after all. I think I'm in love. Fine, I'll do it. So, after Pichu harvested a snack, we made our way up the mountain, avoiding every Geodude at all costs because ground-type Pokemon are like the plague in this challenge. But once I made it to Deer Track Heights, we confronted Alpha Kricketune. Be careful, Keegan. Size is a potent weapon. Oh, it's okay. I think Pichu is almost the same size as Kricketune. And how did that work out? terribly. Kricketune slapped Pichu around within just 2 turns. So I rematched Kricketune with a few extra levels on Pichu. The fight looked to be going the same as last time, with Pichu taking damage on turn 1 before paralyzing Kricketune. But this time, Kricketune spared me and used False Swipe, leaving me on only 1 HP. Now I had 2 turns up my sleeve to land 2 Thundershocks. This wasn't enough to get the job done, but Kricketune was paralyzed on the following turn, so Pichu charged up 1 last Thundershock, finally taking out the mustached menace. Oh, great Weirdeer, share your wisdom with us. Pichu is cute, and my antlers are shaped like a Pichu. Whoa, that's good wisdom. I follow a god of time. Yeah, well, I follow a god of space. Oh yeah, well, I follow a god of cuteness. Turns out that the noble Cleavor is enraged and is mauling people for a laugh. So we had a meeting to decide the best way of dealing with it. What do you intend to do about the noble Cleavor, Commander? Well, I was thinking we send the new kid and see what happens. Agreed? 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 What? Great, majority agrees. Go get him, kid. If Pichu and I were going to take on a noble lord, I at least wanted to look the part. So I picked up a new outfit, and now I really look like a Pichu.
Là, c'est un dresseur, ça. C'est un dresseur.
And oh, look at this smug prick. Thinks it's so good just because he's the Pokemon mascot. I waited until the Pikachu was asleep, and then hit it with a surprise attack. That'll teach you who the cutest chew is. Are you good, Pichu? Once we do reach the shrine, Warden Leanne tries to fight us off with his little ball of goo. Goomy is pretty weak though, and by pretty weak, I mean its stats are only 50% higher than Pichu's, but it's a physically frail Pokemon, so 2 quick attacks give us a quick win, which is really nice for a change. Irida turns up, and apparently Cleavor was enraged by a lightning strike. Crazy, right? Anyway, Pichu and I put on a concert for Weirdeer. Pichu's cuteness had won it over, and now we can travel on Weirdeer's back, which is great because it means Pichu can rest its little legs. Before we can take on Cleavor, Irida decides to test our strength, and this battle is not easy. Glaceon is our toughest opponent yet, with a total stat count that is more than double Pichu's. We do have the level advantage, but not by much. So, my plan is to let RNGesus take the wheel. I paralyzed Glaceon on turn 1 with Thunder Wave, and it was unable to move. I can then land a Thundershock, which really doesn't do much. A single quick attack from Glaceon is almost enough to finish Pichu, but Glaceon was paralyzed on the next turn. By using an Agile-style Thundershock, I get 2 turns in a row. So, I followed it up with 1 more strong-style Thundershock, hoping it would be enough to take Glaceon out, and it just fell short. With Glaceon on the brink of death, a Swift finished off our Pichu, and we'd clutched defeat from the jaws of victory. But that was close. It showed me that it was possible to beat Glaceon. We just needed to get lucky enough with paralysis turns. But I'm not exactly known for being lucky. And Glaceon slapped me around time
Du coup, en vrai, il y a quand même pas mal de combats. Genre, il y a des combats en fait à chaque... Avant chaque boss.
Instead of leaving Glaceon with a tiny sliver of HP
Tu dois
like
battre du coup
earlier,
le
this
mec
time
qui
I got a
protège le
critical
boss.
hit, meaning we had finally
Donc il y a
got
quand même des
past
combats,
Irida's Glaceon. But the
mais
fact that I was
c'est
already
pas
so
pareil
reliant
quoi.
on luck this early in the run did not fill me with confidence. Now we were clear to take on Cleavor, the Lord of the Woods. Pichu was in pretty bad shape after getting slapped around by Glaceon, so I decided to take on Cleavor in hand-to-hand combat. Cleavor's attacks aren't too hard to dodge, so I was able to quickly bombard him with an artillery of bombs, calming down the giant bug. For our trouble, Irida gave us some berries. Lord Pichu is pleased with this offering. Our next mission brings us to the Crimson Mirelands, an awful place with lots of stinky ground types. But before that, Akari stops us for a battle by the gate. Now she's got 2 Pokemon, and it's the first time that we're outnumbered. But that'll be the case for most of the run going forward. So how did this battle go? Not well. All it takes is a single Zen Headbutt from Mime Jr. and Pichu is toast. Even at level 30, with some paralysis luck on my side, we still got decimated by a Mime Jr. And even on the off chance that I got lucky enough to get past
Par un
Mime
Mime
Jr., then
Junior.
Pikachu just instantly finishes me off with an agile and strong style quick attack. My odds of beating this challenge were starting to look very bleak. I needed a new plan. So this time, I upped my survey rank to 3 stars, which allows Pichu to be taught Iron Tail by the move tutor. I also
ça c'est bien
replaced
ça.
Thundershock with
Ça
Thunderbolt
fait
to give
des...
us some extra firepower.
un peu plus
Now
de
I could
type.
get past Mime Jr. reliably with a Thunderbolt, but Pikachu could still easily clean me up afterwards. Even after raising Pichu to level 33 and peppering it with Grit Gravel, we were still getting screwed. Because even though I can now survive 2 attacks from Pikachu, Somehow, Akari's Pikachu gets to attack 3 times in a row. I hate you. Alright, no more messing around. Once Pichu reaches level 35, we can take Mime Jr. down with 1 quick attack. Because quick attack raises my movement speed, it means Pikachu won't be able to use attacks to get 3 consecutive attacks. So, I finally get a chance to attack Pikachu, and it takes a strong style Swift to send it to its grave. Sweet, sweet revenge. I was ecstatic to be done with that fight, but little did I know, an even bigger threat was just around the corner. For now though, it's onwards to the Crimson Mirelands. After a short trip across the swamp, we reach the ruins where we meet Kalaba, and what I can only assume is a Hisuian Bellsprout. Apparently an artifact from the temple was stolen, which we'll have to
Il y a un
help
Castorno, les
retrieve.
gars, il y a un
But
Castorno.
before we can try, Volo emerges and challenges us to a rematch. Except now he's got an extra Pokemon lurking in the deep.
Quoi. J'ai jamais joué à Pokémon
Not
Arceus, du coup
only
je
does
connais pas du
Volo
tout
have
l'histoire.
2 Pokemon now, but one of them is a ground type. Bad news. I can take Togepi out with Thunderbolt, no problem.
Ça,
But then
easy,
Gibble the
easy.
Conqueror emerges, and it only takes 1 Agile-style Bulldoze to finish Pichu. So
Mama.
how are we going to deal with this one? Well, my plan involves taking advantage of the new battle system and the order that Pokemon move. See, if I use an Agile-style Quick Attack against Togepi, I'll get to move twice in a row on the next turn. So even though Togepi recovers all the damage I did with its Draining Kiss, I can still take it out with 1 Thunderbolt. Difference is, with this method, now I get to take a swing at Gibble with my second attack. Before it even has a chance to blink, I can land a big Iron Tail to
Ça
take
one
Gibble
shot.
out in 1 shot.
Ok,
In the end,
Iron
that
Tail qui one
wasn't
shot.
too bad. We then quickly track down the criminals, who were lured out by the cuteness of Pichu. Their names are Dumb, Dumber, and Dumbest. We do have to battle them, but they only use a single Toxicroak. So, 1 strong style Thunderbolt makes light work, electrocuting their frog. We return the stolen relic, and Kalaba deciphers the ancient prophecy. It says, Keegan is about to be mauled by a bear for hours. Now, don't worry,
Bear?
dear.
Bah,
That could
c'est
be
Ursaluna,
any
ça.
Keegan. Oh, wait, no. It's definitely you. Help. Ursaluna, or as it's known in this run, the Grim Reaper. Ursaluna
Ah ouais,
has
il
a
est
stat
sol.
total of
Sol normal.
550, equivalent to 2.5 Pichus. It has the 3rd highest attack stat in the entire game, and it's incredibly bulky. On top of all of that, Ursaluna is a ground type, meaning I can't use my strong electric attacks, nor can I paralyze it with Thunder Wave. This is, by far, Pichu's toughest opponent yet. I got slapped, destroyed, spat on, teabagged, stepped on, and downright embarrassed. I clearly stood
impossible, en
no
fait.
chance as
Parce
these
qu'il faut qu'il
were,
one-shot,
so I needed
sauf
a
qu'il
new
peut pas.
plan. First, I went and raised my survey rank to 6 stars. This gives me some special extra moves at the tutor, most important of which is Play Rough, a fairy type move that has a chance to lower the opponent's attack. After sprinkling Pichu with some Grit Gravel, I thought now I might have a chance. If I can get an attack drop with Play Rough, maybe I could survive an attack from Ursaluna. But then I was reminded just how weak our Pichu is, because even with a huge level advantage and an attack drop, we still fall to a single
Ah ouais, attends,
Bulldoze. I was
Pichu, c'est
starting
vraiment...
to feel hopeless.
Il a
Even at
zéro
level
défense.
55, we weren't faring much better, despite being more than double the level of Ursaluna, until this attempt. On this particular run, I got an attack drop with Play Rough, and then Ursaluna did something strange. It used an Agile style Bulldoze. The attack drop from Play Rough, combined with the power reduction from Agile style, meant that Pichu was actually able to survive a Bulldoze. Ursaluna then gets another attack immediately, and used Baby Doll Eyes to lower my offense. By using Quick Attack, I can give myself 2 attacks in a row and a chance at victory. Quick Attack barely does anything, but on the next turn, I charge up a strong style Iron Tail, and the rest is history.
小栗旬羽生準備됐어? 不器用な大人の恋が始まる
僕のこと好きになられたら困るんですけど。
体操はならない
C'est japonais?
準備
Pourquoi il nous met un drama japonais?
Ah! We were so close to greatness! To put this into perspective, I'd already spent hours on this one fight by now, so to come this close and still fail was gut-wrenching. But now I knew it was possible. Not easy, but possible. Failure after failure, hour after hour, I could simply not hold all these L's. But then, this attempt happened. Turn 1. Play Rough does decent damage and gets the attack drop. Ursaluna then goes for the only move combination that I survive. An Agile Bulldoze into a Baby Doll Eyes. Pause. Did you notice anything change? Mid-fight, during Ursaluna's turn, the overworld weather changed to fog, and fog makes moves more likely to miss, even
Aye.
those with an accuracy accuracy of 100 like Bulldoze. On the next turn, I connect with an agile Iron Tail, but miss the strong style Iron Tail afterwards. However, then a miracle happened, because Ursaluna missed its Bulldoze. We know from past attempts that one Iron Tail won't be enough to get the KO, so I go for an agile quick attack first for some small chip damage. On the next turn, it was all down to one last Iron Tail. And it connects, just finishing Ursaluna, and finally we'd slain the giant bear. We won
il a mis
due
du
to the
temps,
weather of all things, and it felt
Mais
like
en fait, il a eu de la luck. Parce que s'il n'y avait pas eu les miss,
After hours of trying to beat that fight,
il allait
the
continuer
challenge was
jusqu'à la fin
finally
des temps.
over, and... hello? That's not the end? You mean it gets way harder? Oh, Keegan, how did it all go with Ursaluna? Don't ask. I don't want to talk about it. Kalaba, I don't know what you're doing, but I don't think that's going to fix her ankle. While it is true that there are tougher fights, after how strong we had to get to beat Ursaluna, we're at a pretty high level for this point in the game.
Vu comment il a dû booster son Pichu, ça devrait aller.
We stormed to the ridge where the noble Lilligant resides. Pichu was able to get the knockout with one super effective play rough, and I then smacked it with a few bombs, and before long, the second noble had been quelled. We then head back to report our heroics to Kamado. Excellent, but you have no connection to the lightning, right? Me? Come on, don't be ridiculous. Remember this, Pokemon are terrifying creatures. Oh, I know, Kamado. I know. Our next mission is to spread the cuteness of Pichu to the Cobalt Coastlands. As soon as we arrive, Irida stops us for a battle, and she uses two Pokemon at the same time. She gave me some trouble last time, but this time things went much smoother. On turn 1, I immediately take care of Glaceon by sending 5,000 volts to its skull with a Thunderbolt. Eevee follows suit on the next turn, giving us an easy win. Now I feel better. I did just electrocute your Pokemon. Should you really feel good? If Pichu really felt like it, he could electrocute every water Pokemon within a 10-mile radius if we Thunderbolted the ocean right now. We then make our way up the cliff where we meet Paulina. If you were to guess, which of these Growlithe would you say is the previous Lord's child? Ha, I bet that's a trick question. You're the child of Arcanine, aren't you, Paulina? You're an idiot. After annoying Paulina, our next stop is Iscan's house to see if he'll help us cross the ocean. He tells us to find a Dusclops, and on the way, I found this. But since this is a Pichu solo run, the only respectable option was to Thunderbolt the shiny Pokemon into oblivion. F's in the chat for shiny Mothim. Anyway, we grabbed the Dusclops for Iscan, but this really made me think. Does a Dusclops blink, or is it winking since it only has one eye? These are the things that keep me up at night. Dusclops adds its 7 secret herbs and spices to the dish, and now we had a meal for Basculegion. After we win over its heart through the power of song, now we can use it to cross the ocean. Wait, I've got it. Iscan is the child of Arcanine, isn't he? Never speak to me again. Dumb, Dumber, and Dumbest make a triumphant return and steal one of Paulina's Growlithe. I don't really care though. I mean, it's not my business. Oh, it's that guy with the Pikachu. Excuse me? What did you just call Pichu? Pikachu? How dare you? Leave them to me. Once we reach Fire Pit Island, we confront the Misfortune Sisters and have to take on all 3 of them back to back. This is usually one of the more challenging fights, but our Pichu is fully charged and ready. Clover's up first, and she lives up to her title of dumbest by throwing her Abomasnow out right next to Lava. Although, it's not around for too long, since Abomasnow falls to one strong-style Iron Tail. Coin's Toxicroak is a case of deja vu, once again being taken out with a single Thunderbolt. Although Charm is easily the hardest of the 3, boasting 2 Pokemon, including a ground type and a powerful Gengar. I have to take Rhydon out quickly, but luckily, it also has a secondary rock type. This means it's weak to Iron Tail, and one of these takes it out. Gengar then fires off 2 powerful attacks, doing huge damage, but Pichu clutches up and barely holds on.
Non mais pourquoi il survit à ça? Il est overlevel. Ah, il est 20 levels de plus.
The little Growlithe evolves into a huge, towering Arcanine, and the Misfortune Sisters run off scared. Personally, I think they were running away in fear of Pichu's power, but that's just me. We step up to face the new Noble Lord Arcanine, and this is one of the harder boss fights. Although, I've got a mighty Pichu on my side. He looks like he's about to be pushed into the lava, but just tanks a Raging Fury, before landing another Thunderbolt to give Arcanine a dose of shock therapy. From here, I dodge a few of Arcanine's attacks, and we play fetch with some bombs until Arcanine eventually calms down. Who's a good boy? Pichu's cuteness had saved the day once again, but there was still one mystery yet to be solved. Wait, I finally got it. Am I the child of Arcanine?
What?
Good job in the coastlands, Keegan. I just hope that Polina recovers quickly from that aneurysm you gave her. My next mission is in the Coronet Highlands, but before we can get there, Adaman forces us into a 2-on-1 battle. You might think this is easy since I have a 20 level advantage, but it's really not. Leafeon somehow manages to survive a strong style Iron Tail, and then Adaman's Pokemon both get 2 attacks each. They've got to be hacking. Poor Pichu can't handle the onslaught and sadly falls.
Ah, il se fait
I tried a few
péter.
different approaches, but nothing was working. Leafeon could take me out with a single Leaf Blade, so I got slapped around over and over again. So I had to go back to my old strategy of relying on paralysis. But this still isn't easy, because for this to work, I need Leafeon to be paralyzed for 2 turns in a row and to have a few things go my way. Which, knowing my luck, of
Faut la
course
chatte.
did not happen, and I
En fait,
kept on losing to
quand tu
Adamant
fais des trucs comme ça, des fois,
until my luck
faut juste
finally
la
started
chatte.
to turn. Because on this attempt, Leafeon was paralyzed on turn 1, and Eevee was just looking around, which is kind of funny to imagine. I missed my Iron Tail, but Leafeon was still paralyzed. We do get hit by Baby Doll Eyes, which is annoying since this lowers Pichu's offense. On the next turn, I landed Agile Iron Tail this time and hit the small chance for a defense drop on Leafeon. The luck keeps on coming because Leafeon was still paralyzed for a 3rd turn in a row.
Non mais
Eevee
3
does
tours par
land a
contre
few
là,
quick attacks,
c'est
but at
la
this
chatte.
range and with the defense drop, one strong style Iron Tail can finish off Leafeon. Now Eevee gets 2 quick attacks and I need to dodge a crit, which I luckily do, with Pichu barely hanging on. But now it's my turn and I can take care of Eevee with a Thunderbolt. Even with all that luck, I still barely managed to squeak out the win. I couldn't help but think that Pichu stood no chance against big teams of strong Pokemon. But with that, now we can team up with Ingo and head into the Coronet Highlands. You'll find all sorts of rock and ground type Pokemon here. Please, no more ground types. Spoiler, there were more ground types. While wandering through the mountains with Ingo, we come across Melly and his Skuntank. It's only a 1-on-1, but Skuntank is pretty bulky, so it does survive a Thunderbolt. Even with how frail my little Pichu is, he somehow survives a Poison Jab before finishing Skuntank off on the next turn. That was kind of close,
16
but
level.
Melly will be
16
back
level
later on with a
d'avance,
stronger
c'est
team.
presque one shot.
Keegan,
encore.
do you remember what you saw before you fell through the rift? Heaven, Volo. I saw heaven. Oh god, more bears! Run! There's an injured Bronzor that needs help, but since it's made of metal, it's basically a floating battery. So Pichu charges it back up with a Thunderbolt. Basic science. Problem solved. Before we can progress any further up the mountain, we'll have to defeat Ingo, and this guy is a problem. He carries 3 Pokemon that our little Pichu will need to solo. The worst part? His ace is a Gliscor, which, you guessed it, is a ground type. Beating 3 Pokemon is no easy feat, especially with a Pokemon as frail as Pichu. I can take out Ingo's Machoke with a single
Okay,
play rough,
ouais,
but
play rough.
then he follows up with his demonic Gliscor, who decimates me with a quick attack and Mud Bomb combo. It was clear that level 56 just wasn't going to cut it. But even after getting to level 65 and pelting my Pichu with Grit Rocks, it still wasn't enough. Pichu, no! Get down! I'll take the hit for you! But it wasn't enough, and Gliscor once again made light work of
Mama.
Pichu. New plan.
Nouveau plan, qui rate son attaque. C'est ça le nouveau plan, c'est qu'il rate son attaque.
I went and defeated a ton of alpha Pokemon, hoping to get a Seed of Mastery drop, which I got after about an hour. This lets me master the move Play Rough, so now I can use it either as an Agile or Strong style move. But even by using an Agile style Play Rough to knock out Ingo's Machoke, that still wasn't enough to help me survive against Gliscor. So, once reaching level 70, I decided to experiment and found something interesting. If I weaken Machoke with an Agile Thunderbolt, there's a chance that Ingo switches into Gliscor. This gives me a chance to attack Gliscor, which I haven't had in any attempts before this. Unfortunately, I did miss my attack and was promptly destroyed by Gliscor.
Damn, j'ai eu peur.
This gave me hope. I then
Cela.
proceeded to lose over and
D'où
over
c'est
again.
comme ça.
Essentially, my plan was to have Ingo switch into Gliscor, hit it with a Play Rough, and land a small chance for an attack drop, which will hopefully allow Pikachu to survive long enough to remove Gliscor, as well as Ingo's other Pokemon. But after a huge string of losses, I raised Pichu to level 75, and then we had a crazy attempt. Turn 1, the Agile Thunderbolt onto Machoke does big damage and Ingo switches out into Gliscor. I land a Play Rough and don't get the attack drop, but Gliscor then hit the 15% chance to miss Mud Bomb. This means that Pichu can finish Gliscor on the next turn. All of a sudden, we only had to contend with Ingo's last 2 Pokemon, and Pichu still has plenty of HP. But a huge double edge from Machoke brings Pichu to the brink of death, albeit taking itself out in the process due to recoil damage. It was all down to this: Pichu versus a ball of noodles. I charged up one final strong style Iron Tail and... No, 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 please! I'd been stuck on this fight for hours by now and was heartbroken to fall just short, but at least now I knew it was possible. So I kept on trying and still failed, but a short time later, the stars aligned. This fight went slightly differently than previous attempts, because this time, Machoke used a double edge on turn 1 and ended up taking itself out. I used a strong style Iron Tail onto Gliscor, which falls just short of getting the KO. But importantly, Gliscor
rate le mode
bomb.
bombe.
This means that on the next turn, I can knock it out with an agile quick attack. This is important because it means that I can get 2 consecutive attacks against Tangela by using another quick attack. The chip damage from this quick attack makes all the difference, and with my next attack, one strong style Iron Tail can move Tangela, and we finally beat Ingo. Our reward for winning is imprisonment in Sneasler's backpack while we get carried up the mountain. While confined, I realized that if we struggled that much against a team of 3 Pokemon, how would we ever stand a chance against a team of 4 or 5 or even 8? For now though, Melly's back, and this
Le mec il a 8 Pokémon, mais il cheat. Il cheat. Il cheat avec 8 Pokémon.
But since I had to get so strong to beat Ingo, this one really isn't too bad. His Skuntank is the biggest threat, so I use a strong style Thunder to take it down straight away. This leaves only the 2 minions. Although I can still lose since I'm put to sleep, and Pichu is really frail. But with a little luck, Pichu lands its attacks through drowsiness, with both of Melly's remaining Pokemon falling to a single Thunderbolt each. Quick and clean. Let's make one thing clear. I didn't lose. You may have won, but there's a difference. Are you sure? That definitely sounds like something a loser would say. Shut up. Melly refuses to cooperate with calming down Electrode, but Kamado steps in and helps us out. Use your eyes, Melly. Haven't you looked at your frenzied lord? I see nothing but a Pokemon overcome with joy.
Ah.
Oh yeah, he's a real happy little fella. This is one of the harder boss fights because Electrode is running wild, flinging its balls everywhere. Pichu was able to take it down with 2 quick attacks in our first encounter, but was too weak to get the job done the second time.
Il faut quand même qu'il soit level 75 pour pouvoir jouer au jeu. Hein. C'est ça qui... Ça les trucs. Genre les Pokémon ils ont... Pichu il a tellement des stats nuls qu'il est obligé d'être level 75.
75. Give not into sorrow, give not into anger, offer only the cuteness of Pichu. Well said. You're truly part of the Survey Corps and Jubilife Village now. Just as planned. What was that? Oh, nothing. Don't mind me. Kamado gives us our orders to investigate the Alabaster Icelands and quell the final noble lord. But Akari stops us at the gate for a rematch, and now she's got 3 Pokemon, but our Pichu is in a league above her at this point. An agile Iron Tail slaps Mr. Mime with a Thunderbolt frying the Staravia that follows. Last is Pikachu, but its Iron Tail isn't enough to overpower Pichu. With a quick attack, she's got 3 Pokemon, but our Pichu is in a league above her at this point. An agile Iron Tail slaps Mr. Mime with a Thunderbolt frying the Staravia that follows. Last is Pikachu, but its Iron Tail isn't enough to overpower Pichu. With a quick attack followed by a strong style play rough, Pichu slaps Pikachu around, once and for all establishing who the real Pokemon mascot should be. I love the snow. And the best part is, there shouldn't be any ground types here. Spoiler, there is. After a short stroll across the ice, we meet this living Giga Chad. Garrick uses 2 Ice-type Pokemon, so this fight shouldn't be too complicated. A few Iron Tails from Pichu crushes his Pokemon down to ice cubes very quickly, but Garrick isn't going to roll over that easily. On what grounds do you come here seeking to quell Lord Avalugg? On the grounds I was told to by my boss? This leads to my next question. What is wrong with him being frenzied? Look dude, I'm a kid paid in potato mochi. Just let me do my job so I don't starve. To quell Avalugg, we'll need the eternal ice that can only be reached by flying on Braviary. So next we head to Snowpoint Temple in search of its warden, Sabi. These doors in Snowpoint Temple would normally be hard to open, but Pichu's so adorable that the doors just fly open before his cute gaze. Once we reach the top of the temple, Sabi's waiting, and this battle is ridiculous. It's a 3-on-1 against some powerhouse Pokemon, including a ground type. I have to take out the Rhyperior first, so take advantage of its secondary rock type by hitting it with a super effective Iron Tail, luckily taking it down in one shot. Electivire and Magmortar then both get 2 attacks each, leaving Pichu battered, bruised, and poisoned on the brink of death. However, I've now got 2 turns of my own. I use the first to Thunderbolt Magmortar for a quick KO. Pichu just survives the poison damage, and with its last remaining strength, a strong style play rough can finish Electivire, giving
Mama
us
la
the very
chatte.
first try. This
Mama.
clears us to demonstrate our strength to Braviary in
Mama,
battle.
comment
I was
il gagne.
feeling very confident and didn't even bother healing up after our last battle. It's a bird, I have a walking Thunderbolt, the result is pretty predictable. Pichu and I give another Grammy-deserving performance before taking flight with Braviary. We grab the Eternal Ice, which is supposedly Avalug's favorite snack. Like, really? Ice is its favorite food? That's so lame. Under the moonlight, now it was time to face the final noble lord Avalug. This guy is huge, and it definitely has the size advantage over Pichu. This boss fight is usually pretty easy if you know the attack patterns, but I was failing hard. I kept getting hit, and every time I tried to send Pichu out to battle, I didn't throw the ball far enough. So Pichu got to sit on the bench, which is probably for the best considering that Avalug could turn Pichu into a pancake with a single step. Avalug had me at 1 hit from death, but being the pro that I am, I leaned forward in my gamer chair and dodged the remainder of its attacks, smacking it with a final few bombs.
Et du coup, en fait, les combats, c'est juste
t'évites
les attaques et tu
Is this
t'envoies des
Keegan boy
Pokéballs.
some kind of monster in disguise? Wait, how did you know? I mean, of course not. And now that all the noble lords had been quelled, peace can finally return. Well, not if I have anything to say about it.
C'est fini. Bakoum. Qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant? Maintenant qu'il a
Pichu,
réussi
it's
à
time to
calmer
initiate the
tout.
plan. The first strike
gars.
of that strange lightning, the one that drove Cleavor into a frenzy. It struck the night that Keegan fell from the sky, did it not? Those events must be linked. Who or what are you really, Keegan? Ha ha ha, so you finally figured it out, Kamado. You fools. This whole mess started with a lightning strike. And who has the strongest lightning strike? That's right, Pichu.
Pichu.
You all fell for it, and I've already collected most of the elemental plates. Once I get them all, I'll capture Arceus and use its power to give Pichu its rightful place as the mascot Pokemon, not Pikachu. My god, you're insane. Keegan, you are no longer welcome in the Galaxy team. Consider
Aïe,
yourself
aïe, aïe.
banished.
Il est banni.
I don't
Attends,
need you
il te,
anymore,
ba- il te,
Kamado. I'm out
tu
of
viens de
here.
les sauver
Pichu,
et il te
I guess
jette.
we don't need to wear these disguises anymore. Ah, that's better. Now we can finally see your
Ah, le
true
mode.
form, Pichu. So, we're finally ready for the next stage of the plan?
Le mode, il est stylé.
That's right, partner.
Pichu rouge.
The next step in my plan is to assemble the red chain. This isn't too difficult. It does involve some one-on-one battles with strong Pokemon, but we have a demonic Pichu who makes light work of the Guardian Pokemon. The Lake Trio can't deny Pichu's cuteness and hand over the red chain that we intend to use to control the gods. Now we have to take the chain up to Spear Pillar, but on the way we encounter a problem. Benny intends to stop my plan, and his team is easily the toughest
Il est
yet.
stylé, lui.
He's got 4 Pokemon, all
Oh,
fully
sa team,
evolved,
par contre, elle est
all
énervée.
strong, and all capable of crushing Pichu. On my first attempt, I barely got past his first Pokemon, Miss Magius. And even then, the Sneasel that followed ripped me to shreds. Level 76 just wasn't going to cut it, and neither was level 85, where the result was the exact same. If we wanted a shot at Benny, Pichu would need to max out its potential at level 100. In my mind, I truly believed that a Pokemon as frail as Pichu couldn't possibly stand a chance against a full team of 4, especially with a new battle system in Legends Arceus. I've had some incredibly hard fights in this run that took hours, so how long would this one take? Well, only 15 minutes later, I hit some crazy luck. On turn 1, I hit a Thunder, which brings Miss Magius into the red, while also paralyzing it. Benny uses a max potion to heal up, but the next Thunder I landed was a critical hit, finishing Miss Magius off. Next is Sneasler, who previously would finish me off. However, in this run, since I'm still at full health, Pichu somehow survives a close combat. Sneasler is already pretty frail, but with close combat lowering its defenses further, it makes Sneasler very frail, but still bulkier than Pichu. So I take advantage of this by weakening Sneasler with an agile quick attack. This means that I can finish Sneasler off with a regular quick attack while also giving me another consecutive attack. Benny sends out Gardevoir next, but I can take that down with one Iron Tail.
Bah oui, il est fait maintenant. Il est fait, Gardevoir.
But Benny still had his
C'est
Gallade
efficace,
left,
Iron
and
Tail.
Pichu can't survive an attack. So surely the attempt ends here. Or not. For whatever reason, the AI used Swords Dance, and on the next turn, one strong style play rough was enough to rip Gallade apart, giving us a crazy lucky win. Everything went my way in that fight, and I was ecstatic since Benny has been a problem in the past. Pichu actually did it, but a few steps up the mountain, our next challenge is waiting, and this one is even tougher. Kamado. I can get past Braviary easily with Thunderbolt, but Kamado follows up with Snorlax, who knows high horsepower, a ground-type move that slaps Pichu into the ground.
Il level 100, il peut pas avoir plus
simply died
de
here
défense.
since I didn't have a way of dealing with Snorlax. So I decided to experiment. I found that if I use Charge Beam against Braviary, I fall just short of knocking it out. But if I use a quick attack after Benny heals, this means that when my next turn rolls around, I can get 2 attacks in a row. The first can be used to finish Braviary, and the second can be directed at Snorlax. This is important because even though I can't one-shot the Snorlax, I can try to paralyze it with Thunderbolt, and if it's unable to move for a turn, only then would I have a chance of taking it out. I spent hours trying, so many attempts, but for this to work, I needed so much to go in my favor, and it just wasn't happening. And all of this was only to make it past Kamado's second Pokemon. He still had 2 more in the back, with one of them being a ground type. Eventually, I realized that if I wanted to stand any chance of winning, I would need to whip out some items to level the playing field. But by no means does this make the fight easy. I was still being decimated by Kamado, although I did start to see some progress until this happened. Turn 1, I set up an Orc's Evasion, and Braviary connects an Esper Wing for solid damage. On the next turn, I set up an Orc's Power Guard, and thankfully, Braviary missed its attack this time, allowing me to finish it off with an Agile Thunderbolt. Next is Kamado's Snorlax, who crucially missed its high horsepower. Thanks to my attack boost, an Agile Quick Attack, followed by a Thunder, is just enough to take Snorlax out. This brings Golem out, who immediately slaps Pichu with Stealth Rock, which does gradual damage in this game. But I return fire with a super effective Agile Iron Tail to crush that boulder in just one shot. Last is Kamado's Clefable, and for some strange reason, it set up a Calm Mind rather than taking an easy KO. With that stroke of luck, and Pichu being on the brink of death, a quick attack followed by a strong style Iron Tail is just enough to finish Clefable, finally giving Pichu the win over Kamado after hours of trying. Our little Pichu somehow managed to beat not 1, but 2 teams of 4 strong Pokemon. I honestly didn't think we'd make it this far, but Pichu really pulled through. Kamado bows down, acknowledging Pichu's monstrous power and pledging his allegiance. Now we're clear to head for the summit, where Palkia is summoned, and the red chain just breaks. Cool. Regardless, Pichu overpowers Palkia, forcing it into submission, and we shove it inside a Pokeball. Dialga emerges next, wanting to witness Pichu's cuteness with its own eyes. But we retreat since Pichu's not exactly in the best shape after those battles. There's a whole side quest about crafting the Origin Ball that does involve a battle with Charm, but her team only has the same 2 Pokemon as when we last battled, so Pichu takes care of it pretty quickly. Once we've got our hands on the Origin Ball, it's back up to Spear Pillar for a showdown with Dialga. Honestly, this fight is a breeze. Dialga must have been stunned by how adorable Pichu is, because I danced around Dialga like it was nothing without even needing the demonic power of Pichu. We caught it in the Origin Ball, and my plan was going to perfection. He actually caught it? What a monster! That Pichu is the devil! We had the God of Time, the God of Space, and the God of Cuteness all together. The only thing left to do was collect the remaining elemental plates with Volo before confronting Arceus. The next plate is very simple. We just need to defeat an Alpha Vespiquen. Thankfully, a Thunder from Pichu handles this very quickly, frying its brain into a gentle goo. But the next plate is a very different story because Kamado has it. I tried to sneak up and push him into the ocean, but that didn't work, so we need to battle Kamado again. And this time, his team is a higher level, along with having an extra Pokemon. It took me so long to beat him the first time, so I was dreading this battle. Now he leads with Golem, who I can take out with an Iron Tail. But then Kamado follows up with his Snorlax, and it's a familiar sight, with high horsepower tearing me to shreds. I've fallen back into the depths of RNG hell. My strategy was to set up an Orc's Evasion on turn 1, and I need Golem to miss. If it doesn't, the attempt dies right there to a Bulldoze. A lot of attempts ended here. But if Golem does miss, on the following turn, I can also set up an Orc's Power Guard. I then needed to land an Agile Iron Tail, which has a 25% chance to miss. If it connects, Golem goes down and the big bad bear emerges. This is where the RNG gets even worse, because now I needed Snorlax to miss enough attacks in a row for me to take it out. If it lands a single high horsepower, the attempt is done.
Non mais bro, il faut tellement qu'il ait de la chatte
all of this is to only make it past Kamado's first 2 Pokemon. He still has 3 more after that. I spent hours failing over and over and over, but I believed in our little Pichu and kept on fighting until the stars aligned. Against Golem, I'm able to set up an Orc's Evasion and Power Guard with it missing its Bulldoze. I take it out with an Agile Iron Tail, bringing the Reaper out. We both miss our attacks, but on the following turn, an Agile Thunder, followed by Iron Tail, is enough to slay the gluttonous beast. A Pin Missile and Close Combat from Heracross does huge damage to Pichu, but fortunately, neither of them crit, so I just hang on. With the defense drop on Heracross from Close Combat, an Agile Play Rough is enough to take it out. Now I'm in a tough spot because my boosts have worn off and Pichu is about to die from residual Pin Missile damage. So I heal Pichu with a max potion and get really lucky as Clefable decided to set up a Calm Mind. I use this extra turn to give Pichu another Orc's Power Guard, allowing me to tank Clefable's Psychic pretty well. After healing up with a Hyper Potion and tanking one more attack, I tried to finish Clefable off with Iron Tail, but missed. Now Pichu's at low health and things are looking rough. However, Clefable's Calm Mind boost has now worn off. So I take the chance and try to land an Agile Iron Tail, which thankfully connects this time and just manages to finish Clefable. Kamado was now down to only his Braviary, but since I just used an Agile style move, I've got one more turn. I pray to Iron Jesus, and thank God my strong style Thunder doesn't miss, smiting Braviary in one shot, and we finally beat Kamado. Again. Kamado hands me the fist plate, acutely named after what he just did to me for the last 3 hours. Fortunately, the remaining plates are much less painful. We travel around collecting a ton of legendary Pokémon, all fall under the spell of Pichu's cuteness.
Je sais pas comment il s'appelle.
Some powerful Pokémon. You're the only Pokémon I need, Pichu. We get the next plate by giving Kogita some wood before Volo and I head for Spear Pillar. Finally, Volo, we can execute the last stage of our plan to make Pichu become the Pokemon mascot. Pichu? That ugly Pokemon? Volo, what are you saying? Hand over the plates, Keegan. I'll carry out the plan, but I'll be making a much
En plus,
more
l'histoire elle est pas
deserving
ouf,
Pokemon
genre
mascot.
c'est
And
je
what
t'aide, je
Pokemon
t'aide, je
would
t'aide.
that be?
Non, je suis le méchant en fait.
Paris. My God, Volo, you're a
Non, c'est pas
madman. You'll
possible.
doom us all. Someone had to stop Volo. It was all up to me and my little Pichu. This battle is ridiculous. Not only is it a 1 versus 8, but Volo also has some of the strongest Pokemon in the entire game, including a legendary Pokemon that we have to beat twice. It's absurd to think that one little Pichu had any hope of beating this all by itself. Remember how Pichu has a stat total of 205? Well, the total base stats of Volo's team comes out to a crazy 4,585, or the equivalent of over 22 Pichus, and we only have one. But we've come too far to give up here. I had to find a way to make this possible. So I experimented with a bunch of different strategies and movesets. But time and time again, I got slapped around. I'm talking for hours. But this was important to help me understand just how screwed I was and how lucky I needed to be. So, Volo's Spiritomb lead is not that bad. I can set up an Orc's Power Guard and Orc's Evasion pretty safely as long as I don't get crit. Thanks to the attack boost, a super effective, agile Play Rough can then take it down. Of course, next is my worst nightmare, a ground type. If Garchomp uses
Karchakroc en plus.
and it
Bam,
doesn't
bam,
miss,
bam, bam, bam,
then
bam.
Pichu just
C'est
dies
Karchakroc
then
en
there.
plus.
The only
Ça va
attempts
être-
that stand a chance are those where Garchomp misses or uses Slash. If either of those happen, then I can take it down with a Play Rough. But it doesn't get easier because next up is
Lucario.
Lucario.
Ah,
This part of the fight is tricky because I can take Lucario down with Thunderbolt, but by this point in the fight, my stat buffs have nearly worn off, and I desperately need those boosts to stand any chance of making it past Roserade that comes out next. So the strategy I eventually settled on was to try and use Lucario to restore my stat buffs and health. Of course, this requires a ton of luck. Basically, I need Lucario to miss at least 3 attacks. If it crits me, I lose. If it never misses, I also lose. It's a gauntlet, but it is necessary because if I don't
Voilà,
have
il y a un mec là,
and
il m'a mis
no
un
buffs, the
pavé
rest of
parce
the
que j'ai
fight
mis un
is
truc sur
near
Reddit
impossible.
pour mon
On the
équipe
very few
pour savoir
attempts
si
that do make it this
si
far,
je pouvais rajouter
after
des
taking
choses.
Lucario down,
Le mec il m'a mis un
Volo
pavé.
sends out his plant, who is an absolute
Après,
run
Pogos
killer.
est
If it
devenu
hits
dans
me
le
with
format.
spikes, Pichu takes
C'est
huge
contre
residual
double
damage
restricted
each
damage,
turn
ça va,
and will
c'est-
almost
ça va,
always
c'est-
lose.
ça va, c'est-
Seriously, so many good attempts died right
C'est
here.
le limite
To make it
sur-
safely past Roserade, I need it to miss an attack. If it does, then I've got a 75% chance to take it down in one shot with an agile Iron Tail. If absolutely all of this has gone to plan, we should be at full health when Arcanine comes out. Once again, I need it to miss an attack or the attempt is over. If it does miss, then I can knock it out with a Thunder. This brings out the last member of Volo's regular team, Togekiss. It's worth mentioning that I must be at full health when I take it down if I want any hope of surviving Giratina. This means I either need Togekiss to use Calm Mind when it first comes out,
you need to
or I have
wait
to keep
slow
on
down
healing
on
until
the
it
big
finally
ones.
misses an attack. Once
Ils
I'm
ont
at
la
full
base
health
vie.
and have a chance to
How do
attack,
you
it only
ever
takes
beat?
one strong style
C'est hyper
thunder to take
France,
care of Togekiss. By now, I must have had hundreds of attempts over several hours to finally get all the luck needed to beat Polo's main team. But then, this hacker whips out his Giratina that I'll need to beat twice. Giratina attacks first and instantly brings Pichu to the brink of death with Shadow Force. But now I've got two turns, so I use the first one to heal and an Orc's Power Guard on the second. Giratina is still doing huge damage. All I can do is try to stall for time by healing, but this is hopeless. If Giratina crits me, I die. If Giratina hits me with an Agile Dragon Claw, followed by a strong style Earth Power, I also die. And this is all without me even getting to land an attack. After helplessly falling to Giratina, I was crushed. It took me so long to even make it that far, only to get stomped without dealing a single point of damage. But I kept fighting. It took ages, but I eventually did make it back to Giratina. I survived for a little while, but the result was the exact same. By the third time I made it to Giratina, Pichu still hadn't even laid a hand on it.
Il a bien expliqué, il a bien
Giratina
expliqué.
fights have hours
Il a
of
bien
failed
expliqué, il a bien
attempts
expliqué.
between them that die in the absolute hell of RNG that
Il est
is
sympa,
Bolo's regular Pokemon. And if I sound hopeless, it's because at this point, that's exactly how I felt. Until something special happened.
Ok. Oh là là. Il a la chatte, la 100% chatte. Oh là là là.
Once again, we were back at Giratina. As always, we almost died to Shadow Force, but Pichu hangs on and we heal up before boosting our stats with an Orc's Power Guard. I then keep healing until we eventually get 2 consecutive turns, and I use this turn to set up an Orc's Evasion. This triggers Giratina to now use Aura Sphere since that move doesn't miss. This does less damage than Shadow Force, and I can survive 2 regular hits. So I alternate between healing and restoring my stat boosts with Orcs items. This cycle carries on for a few turns, but the goal is to drain Giratina's Aura
Il lui met les boosts, il lui met les piqûres, il lui met les piqûres au
we've done
Pichu.
just that. Now it is vital that Giratina misses multiple turns, and this is where my previous runs faltered. But this time, Giratina missed a Shadow Force, so I was able to land an Agile Play Rough, doing about half of Giratina's health, while also hitting the small chance to lower its attack stat. But then Giratina makes things even better and also misses a Dragon Claw, so I can reset my Orc's Power Guard buffs before landing another Agile Play Rough to finally KO Giratina, at least before it comes back in its second form. However, importantly, stat changes from the first phase carry over, so I get to keep my stat buffs and Giratina is still stuck with the attack drop. With its PP reset, Giratina once again uses Aura Sphere, and I respond with yet another Play Rough. I dodge a crit on the next turn, and barely survive thanks entirely to the stat buffs. At this point, Giratina's evasion has been raised by Shadow Force, and Play Rough only has a 90% accuracy. All the hours, all the struggle, all the tough fights we've had, all come down to whether we can land one final attack. And we did. After way too long and hundreds of attempts, our little Pichu, one of the most frail Pokemon in the game, had somehow soloed one of the
il a mis les
hardest
piqûres
battles
à la fin,
in
il a
the
mis
Pokemon franchise. And so,
il a
we stepped
maxé
up
les
to
piqûres.
Arceus, who was no match for Pichu's cute charm. We slapped it around and took control of Arceus's power, which we used to change history, and that's how Pichu became the rightful mascot of the Pokemon franchise. Thanks for watching. Jump into this video next, or Pichu will smite you. Like the video.
Oh boy! Il n'y a pas d'autre... Yahoo! Rien. Wolfie.
I'm willing to bet that you didn't know that these Pokemon have won official tournaments. Let's take a look at Togedemaru. Doesn't look that impressive, right?
Ah, mais son type, il est
Well,
incroyable.
it actually has won at least 8 different regional events and an
8?
international championship. It also won the World Championships in the middle age division. While it might not look very impressive, it actually has a super deep supporting move pool, using moves like Fake Out and Nuzzle to disrupt the
Nuzzle,
opponent,
c'est
and
fort.
of course Zing Zap and Iron Head to fish for flinches. It was really good in part because of its Lightning Rod ability, which makes it immune to all electric moves and protects your teammates from electric moves during the time when Tapu Koko was one of the best Pokemon in the game, a fast electric type attacker. Now okay, maybe you knew about Togedemaru, but I bet you didn't know that Golduck was once one of the best Pokemon in the game. It won 3 different regional championships and has over 30 top 8 placements. The reason why is that in the early days of Sun and Moon, there weren't that many good Pokemon that had access to the Swift Swim ability. Golduck was really one of the only good ones. And Rain was one of the best strategies in the game because the water type Z move, Waterium Z, which turned your Pokemon's attack into, I think it was called Hydro Vortex, did tons of damage in the rain. And with Swift Swim, your Pokemon was so fast you could basically delete any Pokemon you wanted off the face of the earth. And without better options to choose from, players went to Golduck, and it was actually really good. It did a ton of damage. The problem was that Golduck had to use Hydro Pump in order to get this power, and Hydro Pump is very inaccurate, so while your Z move was really strong, things got really scary after that point. Despite that, Golduck saw a ton of success, and I don't know, maybe it'll come back someday in the future. I'm willing to bet that you didn't know that these Pokemon have one official tournament.
Il y a juste les deux là.
So Russ is
Hi. Reste sur YouTube, Francis. Quel bidou. Non mais arrête avec les gens d'Arceus. Si tu fais un autre jeu, moi je veux bien regarder Bidouf, mais les gens d'Arceus, il est nul le jeu. Il est nul. Non mais vraiment les gens d'Arceus c'est nul. Ah, c'est nul. Hmm. Merde. Skyrim but it's Fall Guys. Nah. Playing realistic Reich. Victor Wenbenema shouldn't exist. Non, on va pas mettre. Parce que le basket, des fois, ça me fait ban. Du coup, l'eau et tout ça, je peux regarder parce que ces vidéos, elles sont bien, il n'y a pas trop de choses. Mais sinon, ouais. Tan Clench Casino. Build. Tout. Y'a quoi les gars? Y'a quoi? On regarde quoi? Jeux vidéo. Attends, 5000 Pokémon youtubeur tournament. C'était il y a 3 ans. Vas-y, on regarde Jinxie. Ils sont bien ces vidéos à Jinxie.
What we are going to be doing today is we are going to be building the cheapest deck in Clash Royale, and every single battle our deck gets progressively more expensive. So, okay, so the cheapest deck in the game is 1.3 average elixir cost. And I'm going to be trying to use this deck in 15,000 trophies, bro. I need Evo Skeletons in for defense. We have Larry in. Okay, every time we do a battle, our deck is going to get more expensive until we have the most expensive deck in the game. And we're going to try to get to 15k trophies doing this. Our first deck is 1.3 average elixir cost. This is the cheapest deck in Clash Royale. Let's get it, let's go. Let's get it, let's go.
1.3. Il va se faire éclater.
Playing against Slim Shady. This guy's probably never in his life played against a deck this cheap. This is 1.3 average elixir. Let's go. Connect. Okay, Goblin Cage. Maybe he's using Royal Recruits or Lava Hound. Maybe I go Wall Breakers here? Okay, this guy has a bunch of weird stuff. He has like Electro Wizard. I need to activate King. Activate King, activate King! Yes.
Ok.
Bro, how am I gonna get damage, bro?
Oh là là.
Bro, he has a
Il y a le Mega Knight.
Wait, I can activate King, I think. Or no, it's already activated. Evo Skellies go. Evo Larry. Evo Larry. Wait, chat, the suspicious push did a bunch of damage.
Oh my god.
He's gonna go Goblin Cage. Wait, he went arrows. How does, wait, what? Wait, when I arrows, they still connect. Why did mine not connect? Because he has Dagger Duchess, maybe?
Okay.
This is not gonna be easy. My god. Bro, the Mega Knight is the most annoying thing that he has.
C'est vrai que là, il va poser Mega Knight. Là, il met ça, il va poser Mega Knight.
Wait, what? The Diddy Cage just he two-shot Wall Breakers?
What? Il a mis 2 patates là?
I lost. I don't have a single tank. Oh god. Evo Skellies, save me, please. Evo Skellies, save me. Save me, Evo Skellies, please. Yes, yes. Go, Larry, go. Go, Larry.
Non, c'est
Oh
fini.
no, 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 no. Wall breakers, no. It's fine. I'm getting to my Evo. It's okay. He's gonna Mega Knight, bro. Yo, if this guy loses, he should be ashamed of himself. If this guy loses, he should be
Mais là, le problème c'est qu'il va pas perdre. Là, il dit s'il perd, mais il va pas perdre. Il est trop bien.
Wall breakers, he's gonna Mega Knight. Why did I wall breakers? He's gonna Mega Knight. Ah! Don't do it. Don't do it. Yes. I have to put Skellies down every time I get a chance. I have to keep putting Skellies down as fast as I can so I can keep getting my Evo Skellies. My Evo Skellies are literally bailing me out right now. Literally. Bro, the Mega Knight just fully shuts down everything. I have no way of breaking through. Oh no, this bush is massive.
Dans la merde, il est dans la merde. What? Il a la fournaise derrière avec. Ouais, non, c'est fini, c'est fini, c'est fini, c'est fini, c'est fini, c'est fini, c'est fini.
My Evo Skellies got one shot. Daddy, chill. Daddy, take it out. Daddy, take it out. Daddy, take it out. Daddy, Daddy, take it out.
C'est fini, c'est fini, c'est fini, c'est fini, c'est fini, c'est fini, c'est fini.
If I could do that all over again, all I needed to win was Evo Snow.
C'est impossible, genre les decks trop bas en élixir, c'est impossible de jouer. Genre vraiment. What? Putain, ils ont les sous, hein. Bon. Pas grand chose. Ivry. Oh, ça c'est stylé. Attends, s'il prend la trueno, c'est incroyable, les gars.
Welcome to a long journey of me trying to complete every single Gran Turismo game while only using Toyotas. That being GT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Ah
I
ouais.
won't be playing GT Sport as that game doesn't really have an end goal to it. The career was added as an afterthought, and I'm not gonna spend an hour doing Sunday Cup here. Same case with the PSP game. It's just mainly license tests in that one. Now you might ask yourself, why Toyota specifically? Well, Toyota has a bit of a meaning to me. My most popular video at this moment is me beating Gran Turismo 4 using Toyotas, and I also own a Toyota. So with this in mind, I was motivated to try and complete all that I could with this brand, so sit back and relax, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Now our journey starts with the very first Gran Turismo game from 1998. It's a fairly short game with not that many events, about 4 main cups and a few side ones you can try out, with only 3 licenses to obtain to unlock the events. The first Toyota that I bought was a used MK3 Supra, and I immediately went to the Sunday Cup. You can qualify to secure a better spot, but I skipped that for now. And I got all 3 events with ease, unlocking the Clubman Cup. I tried it as well, but without upgrades it was not possible. So I added a bit more power to it, which did help a bit, but it was still a bit tricky. It wasn't until the AI drifted off into the gravel. This MR2 wasn't giving up, but eventually my Supra takes the lead and wins the race. The second one, I lacked the pace on the straight and lost this one, only having a 3-point lead going into the final race. I wanted to be safe and qualify for this one. However, I got absolutely demolished by the AI here. I asked T-Kanji about this, and he mentioned the AI quality times are hard-coded and it doesn't line up with their actual performance. With how easily I gained a few places, I'd agree with this. Despite this, the other drivers were quick here, so my best place was 3rd, managing to win this cup by just a single point. The reward was this Camaro, which gave me quite a bit of credits, and a few more upgrade options. It helped a lot with the GT Cup, winning every race in it, and the reward being the Chaser LM edition. Now for the final cup, the AI was pretty rapid in here, so dive bombs were a necessity to survive here. I was pretty close for first place, but messed it up in the final corner. For the next race, I played around with the downforce option. It helped out a lot as I was able to send it for the lead and win this race, and the one in Grand Valley. Special stage was tough to keep up with them as they bolted away on the straights. On the final lap, I was able to get close enough and squeeze it out for the lead. The remaining races
bloqué à la
to
fin.
win as well, thus completing this cup and the game itself. As I said, it's fairly short, so this only took a few hours at most. However, the same cannot be said for the next game. For Gran Turismo 2, I wanted to try using the Project
quand même,
mod, because it does add a few extra events, but most importantly, more cars. And considering here you get a car after each race, that will definitely help out with credits. With 10,000 credits, I had a few options to choose from. Do we start off like we did before? We could actually get the same color, and it's cheaper in this game. Cheaper by 3,000 credits. Start with MK3 in all games, fuck it. Same colors, same it's just like, it's like it transferred
Levin
with
GT
us,
Apex.
you know? It transferred with us to the next game. The goal is to, you know, complete GT World and all that, but I'd like to also try and do as many other events as I could, as I can. The first few races of Sunday Cup were simple, but on the last one, the AI finally decided to wake up. Polyphony sent their strongest soldiers after hearing you smoke the competition with an MK3. Oh no, not again, not again. I already had one guy pass me at the finish line once. I don't want to again. Okay, so that's Sunday Cup done and dusted. Now we can do Clubman Cup. They didn't just wake up, however. They were on a warpath. Ouch. Is he gonna charge at me again? Oh, he did try. He did try. God, I miss this AI. You don't see this type of AI in the modern games anymore. I actually have no idea. Did they buff up the AI in the Project A spec? But they definitely feel buffed up. I like how the AI is literally giving me a push at this point. I'm just that slow compared to them. Too many dive bombs. Too many dive bombs. Hey, they're pushing me. I get to push them, okay? Perfectly balanced, as all things should be in life. This is where Max Verstappen learned to drive. Nope, 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 no, not again, not again, not again, not again. I'm holding on to this for dear life. Like, look how close they are. You don't get this shit nowadays anymore. In GT7, you mostly get like maybe 2 or 3 opponents close to you, but like the rest, They're nowhere. Literally nowhere. In this game, they introduced one make events, and the first one that I tried was the one with the Celica, which ended up with a pretty close finish. What is the difference between normal style and racing style?
Comment ça s'appelle? Ah!
Oh, you have to have racing modifications. Okay. You'll need a racing modification and a Vitz? Can't wait to see that. Kind of want to use this thing. It looks kind of funny. We do have different stylets, but an old stylet? No, what fucking. Can it be used for K-Cod by any chance? Oh, it can actually qualify for this. Has no upgrades whatsoever, Chad. No upgrades. Can it keep up with an AutoZam? That's the main question. It might struggle against the AutoZam, but fuck it. We're gonna try anyways. They have the straight line speed, but we need the cornering. We need to work all together. See, like that. Not split each other apart, fellas. We need to work as a unit. One unit against an AutoZam. That is peak Gran Turismo right there. I'm just gonna have to send it, it seems. It's my only chance, really. It's so hard, man. It's so hard to do it cleanly without you just sending yourself into them. Especially with the AI in this game. Oh, Jesus. Completely pulverized by that AutoZam. Maybe they can slow each other down. Maybe I can use that to my advantage. Good try, though. Good try. Ow, Suzuki! Why, brother, why? Oh, God, what is going on?
Dérape trop, en fait. La voiture, elle dérape trop, non?
How do you have so much speed out of that corner, man? What the fuck? They just slingshot out of those corners, man. And then we have a Cappuccino who's gonna... Sorry, Honda B who's gonna send it. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, Lord.
Oh, le drift.
What is this?
Il a drift d'une puissance.
This single race with K-Cars shows how more intense the AI is compared to the modern games in a nutshell.
Oh, il est passé. Il a eu un boost, là.
What a bounce. That actually worked well. Now I just need one opponent. Nope, I ran out. Fuck. There's so much grip in these last few corners. I just need to have a good first corner. That means I have to do the line that the Honda B did and just pulverize my opponent. Simple as that. But then we have an AutoZam. But at least it's just the AutoZam, not everyone else. Doors open. Thank you. I think what this race actually teaches you is you just have to use every inch of the fucking road. An advantage. Oh god, I can't block everyone. I can't, man, I can't. Someone's gonna just punt me in a few seconds.
Putain, sa voiture, elle est pas ouf.
Thank you. Keep pushing, brother, keep pushing. Chad, what do you do when you have a angry batch of K-cars behind you? I never thought I would have a life experience like that. Keep holding for dear life. It has to be the most intense race I've had. It's just a bunch of K-cars, man. Now we have Tahiti Road. Oh no. Come on. Where's the finish line already? Oh, Jesus. 25 hundredths of a second. Literally 5/10 separating every single AI member. Why is it so intense? It's just K-Cars. I don't understand. I mean, I'm enjoying it, but still, your butt clenched. My entire body clenched. At least I got some good money out of it, and I got a new car. Now, on the second day, my audio kind of corrupted, so I will give a TLDR of what happened during this day. For now, I just continued doing what I could. I got an MR2 a bit later, which I got used for a few national races. Now it was a struggle to keep up, so I purchased a few upgrades. It helped it conquer the FR Challenge events. With how much power it had, I wanted to try the tuned turbo car events. While it was decent in some races, in others, the AI was really damn tough to keep up with, but eventually it got into the lead. With the money I earned so far, I went and tuned this Supra into a race spec, giving it much more performance and downforce. It became a dominant machine, clearing any event in its way. So much so that I signed it up for this event, which at first looked hopeless, but a few corners in, I felt like there was a possibility. It catapulted its way into the lead, but keeping it was the real challenge. It was a constant back and forth with these guys, especially on the last lap. Holding on to dear life somehow, it manages to win this race. I then upgraded the starlet with racing modifications. Somehow the game let me use it in a muscle car event. While the power wasn't much, the grip it had was the difference maker. Then as I did this race, I saw the Vitz, and I thought, how would this be with upgrades? So let me introduce you to the Great. You might not like it, chat, but this is basically peak male performance. The Grape is simply fantastic. That and the Starlet honestly carried me through so many events. The Grape didn't have much power like the Starlet, but the grip was insane, and I was having a lot of fun with this. I don't know for you lads, but for me, seeing cars like this winning and defeating much faster rivals is always enjoyable. After doing this for a while, I had so many different cars, some new ones from the Project A-Spec mod. Also, somehow my Starlet was able to fight against the GT40 in this infamous event. It was a pain in the ass to keep it behind, so it took a few attempts. Eventually, the Starlet beat the GT40 around Rome. I then upgraded the Celica and used it for a bit, but there was one Toyota I really wanted to get. From this Pikes Peak event, you can get a really powerful car. Also, the AI does not move for some reason if you have 60 FPS enabled. Tacoma Pikes Peak. Oh god. 1,000 horsepower, 800 kilograms. Okay, we already passed the limit. 400 kilometers as well. Oh god.
Il va voler.
No need to pit stop. Limited speeds. We didn't get any penalties for speeding in the pit lane. Anyone want to join my pit crew? I swear your legs are not going to be decapitated when I enter. Yeah, I was definitely going to enjoy my time with this car, but before GT World, I had a few events remaining, like GT 500, which I used this Tiger Supra for. I didn't have any problems in here, so I won all the races. In Project A-Spec, you can also drive on the Rome night track. I still to this day don't get why Polyphony didn't do much with this track, as it looks fantastic. The Grape I tried using in the EuroLeague events, and while it was a bit behind, it clawed its way through the field and eventually took the win. The Pacific League was tough. As I was holding this Viper back, another car came chasing, but somehow I managed to block him as well, keeping the win to myself. For me overall, this was the best Toyota I've driven in this game. The Grape and Starlet achieved a lot in Gran Turismo 2, and as I wrap up the GT World Championship,
you are the world champion.
I managed to complete about 45% of the game while only using Toyotas, which is pretty good in my opinion. Close to half of the game with just one car brand. And with that, it's time for our next stop in this Toyotathon.
Non, la trouvé d'où? Il y a la trouvé d'où, les gars?
Gran Turismo 3 was the first PS2 entry in the series, and because of that, the car count was a lot lower compared to GT2. However, there's still a decent amount of Toyotas to pick in here. You could start it off with a Treno and go from there, but I
voilà, la Treno. Oh.
Most other people would start off, buying whatever other car they can and doing Sunday Cup. But that is not how we roll around here. I do very, very stupid things. Now, let's increase the power just a little bit. Now, how is this gonna fare? What could go wrong, Chad? What could go wrong? Oh,
ah bah ça va vite.
What do they have, man? How are they so quick? They just vanished immediately. Aren't they fully upgraded? I thought they would be stock. Guess we're not starting off from that, chat. We're gonna have to get a lot of money for this Vitz. I really chose a poor start for this. Really chose a bad start, but it's fine. It's the Vitz conquered so much in GD2. I'm sure it's gonna do the same in this game. I don't think we will win, but we need to get some money. We're just gonna have to redo events, hope we get enough money, and then keep upgrading this car. This is much less hopeless than the Vitz Pro. We're gonna upgrade this thing to the max, and then we're gonna do it, okay? I am not refusing the Vitz Pro competition. This Vitz will dominate it. Even if it takes me 50 bloody laps, which are boring as fuck, we're gonna do it. Smooth. Very, very smooth. I'm kind of thinking not to upgrade this one further. Even though I have an RS right now, it's the pink Vitz, okay? We want the pink Vitz to dominate. Let's just go for it immediately. 3 races, why not? Let's just get it. Then I'll sell my Vitz RS, get whatever money we get, then we just upgrade the other car. Though we have a Lupo Cup card in here. This is, I don't know about that one, Chief. But yeah, Lupo, definitely not. I'm just gonna do it anyways, get some money out of this event. We got second place at least. Battle for P2. Peazo's gonna clutch it out. It didn't have the power, but it could still get second places in some events, so the money was rolling in slowly. I was able to afford a Stage 1 turbo, which helped out a lot. Now I could challenge the Lupo Cup car, and after a few races, I got the pink Vitz. The almighty pink...
La pink Vitz.
And now now we sell this one. It's only served us for like 5 races. I hope another person enjoys this Vitz. Now we can use this one and do whatever else we want, which is to buy another turbo upgrade. Oh, look at the glorious color, man. It already gives us more power. Already helps with handling.
Là, elle est bien la Vitz là.
We're actually keeping up with a Skyline, dude. Already. I thought this thing was gonna be super quick. All I added was a turbo and a few engine things. Mamma mia! The pink Vitz is cooking. I think I'm also doing a favor to the Skyline, okay? He's literally witnessing my car right in front of him. He has a front row seat for the pink Vitz. While it did have a bit more power, the car was understeering and it was hard to do much with it. So I went back to Sunday Cup to finish that off, getting the other starter car I mentioned earlier. The Clubman Cup went alright, though the AI wasn't too far back. Now for the Vitz to fight against its fellow comrades. Compared to the one in the professional series, this was a night and day difference. However, as the championship goes on, they slightly get quicker in the later races, so I have to block more often. You can see a lot better. Oppa! Oh, the red got cooked. The red messed itself up. With another win in the last race, I am the champion of the beginner Vitz series. A roulette.
Okay.
Oh, what am I gonna get? Oh, it's another Vitz. Let's go. Congratulations. Have another Vitz RS. Yippee. It's not a pink one though. What do you call that even? Piss yellow or gold variants? Yeah, I think it's more piss, to be honest. After this, I spent more money on upgrading this beast. The pink Vitz was a force to be reckoned with. However, I still didn't change my tires, so it wasn't easy to corner with. Yes. Now understeer. Let's go. How are we gonna survive this shot? Through the power of friendship, it seems. And a lot of bonks. I hope that's good enough. Come on. Do we pull away? Yes. More straight line speed and a 3000 GT. God, I love this Vitz. I need 16 and I have... Okay. So basically one race. This is the true potential you'll have with a Vitz when you fully upgrade a chat. Even the emulator is gonna speed up because it's so damn fast. Now we can buy the medium slick tires, which would definitely help us out a little bit. What if we just took the Vitz to one of these events now? Whatever money we get here, we can finalize this card and then start working on the other cars, I guess. The turbo event was a bit of a reach for this car, so instead I switched it to the FF Cup. Despite the tire wear in here, the Vitz was doing amazing as usual. While doing these races, I found a very unique Toyota I unit. One of the chairs of all time. If it's available in one of the GTs, we could use it. Ultra compact single seater. The reward from the FF Cup is this TRD Celica, which might get used later. The final upgrade on the Vitz is the suspension one, and with T Kanji's help, this Vitz was set up for more championships. The Japanese one, the opponents were zooming, but in the wise words of most online racers nowadays, if gap, car. Ah! If I win, I get 57.5k. Damn, that's actually pretty good. Okay, if we can do all 3 championships in this thing, that'll be nice. I don't think it'll be able to do everything, but we'll try. But it's so nice to see this thing ahead. I don't know what's about these cars, but every time you are leading a race in them, it just gives you a good feeling. You just feel happy. Like everything is alright with the world or some shit. The RX-7, oh, okay. Lose a bit of grip around here, so that's nice. The RX-7 tried, but the Vitz was
il a dû la booster parce que pour qu'elle soit aussi forte en ligne droite et tout là, ça c'est chaud.
Nah, we're not really gaining. Speedster pulls away. Oh, what the fuck was that, man? Opa. Clio is actually holding up a Zonda? How even that? Okay, I will never underestimate a Clio V6 in my life. Ever again. I mainly catch up because it has the shittiest brakes possible, I think. The Speedster was pretty much sniffing my rear for most of the races. Still though, a Zonda got clapped by a Clio. I think that's really the highlight of this race. Both that and the fact that I clapped the Zonda with a Vitz. I was able to get past the Zonda for about a few seconds. The long straights weren't doing me any favors. I tried yet another dive bomb, which worked somehow. The next race I couldn't match the pace from the Speedster, so I was busy fighting the Zonda instead. At this point, there was no way to fight the Speedster without qualifying. With it, I managed to start from P3. They start very quick, so nothing much I can do there other than spectate from afar. The Zonda was fighting hard with the Speedster. He managed to get ahead and slow down the Speedster, giving me a chance to send it. At this point, I didn't really care about the win. Main priority was keeping this guy at bay at all costs. I was able to hold it off and go with a 6-point lead into the final race, which is around Monaco. This time I was only 2/10 away from pole position. In true Lando Norris fashion, I bottled the start and lost the place to Zonda. However, it's skill issue at the top here, giving me the place back. Now it was just me and the Opel. I fancied my chance around the swimming pool area and got the lead. I wasn't happy about it as I hit the wall and slowed down the Zonda with it, losing second place in the process. Not a good race for the Speedster, but nevertheless, the Vitz gets the dub and the championship as well, giving me this Gillette Vertigo, which is worth 300k credits. With those credits, I bought a few cars I need for specific events. Now, before you write in the comments, I know this isn't a Toyota, but Toyota does own Daihatsu, and the only time I'll ever use a Daihatsu in this video is just for the K-car events. Despite their size, these K-cars are pretty quick, needing at least a turbo upgrade to challenge them. The next championship I did was the Altezza beginner one. The only thing I changed on this car was the oil to see how the AI would be. The first and second race went alright, but remember what I said before during the Vitz one-make races about AI getting quicker? That spike kicked in the third race, and I was only able to get second in here, and their speed was even quicker in the last two races. On race 4, I was pretty much nowhere for most of the race. I only got third because of the dive
sa
bombs
Vitz,
here.
elle est
Now
quand
I
même
only had
un
a
show de
4-point
night.
lead going into the final race. I tried to qualify and I didn't gain any spots. I knew I wasn't winning this, so I was just hoping I'd have enough points while also holding down the remaining rivals behind me. Across the line, the green Altezza finished second and me in fourth, managing to win this with a single point. My next destination would be the 80s Sports Car Cup with the A86. It was a bit weak at first, so I gave it a stage 1 turbo upgrade. Now it manages to keep up with the first few cars. This pretty much
Elle est belle, les gars, elle est belle.
versus real Takumi battle. Eventually finding a gap and going for it, but Takumi was still fighting hard, charging like a missile towards me, but fake Takumi clutches it out. In the second race, he was close to winning as he had much more grip, but on the last corner, I managed to get it back. In Seattle, he was back to sniff in my rear with how quick he was, only winning with a small margin. Now, the only thing left to do in the beginner league is the GT World Championship, which I took the Vitz for. The main rival is always this MRS. While in the first race it seems harmless, it will get even quicker as time goes on, just like the opponents in the previous championships. In race 3, it already activated its rubber band ability, losing out to it here. Fourth one was better for me as I had good pace to take the lead. Fifth one as well.
Une Vitz à 230 km/h. Ça va vite, hein. Ça va vite.
The lead at the corkscrew part. Seattle, I started on pole and kept the place. It went alright till the last few races where I just couldn't keep up anymore. But luckily I had enough points and won this championship. The next championship is probably the one that excited every GT fan in the early 2000s. 5 10-lap races in the Vitz. One thing, however, I forgot to notice was the tires that I had, as they literally died within 3 laps. Polyphony wasn't joking with tire wear in this game, so naturally I had to go to the pits, and by the time I got close to the pack, the tires would die again. Luckily they pitted as well, so next time I exited, I was relatively close to them. The cycle would repeat for a bit, taking the lead and then pitting again on lap 9. I managed to take first place and won with a 1.5 second lead on a 3-stop
c'est quoi?
I think this qualifies me
des
enough
ballons
for a
de
job as a
baudruche, quoi.
Ferrari race strategist. Now, Kazunori knows that deep down in your heart, you love the Vitz too. So he graciously gives you a 10-lap event around the test course. Thanks for being there for me when times were dark. Dude, I'm a fictional oval track. The reward for this championship is the final car that I'll use, the Toyota Altezza, which in this game can go up to 1,000 horsepower. It was even good for rally events in this game, maybe a little bit too good. I ended up using this to clear any remaining events that I had. Along the way, I got Takumi's car, which was pretty solid, managing to complete a bunch of events, getting a Denso Supra that also was used a bit. I hope that satisfies the Supra enjoyers out there. It won the Amateur GT World event without any struggle, and the professional one for some reason doesn't really have any rubber bandy AI compared to the previous ones, and the Mazda and GT1 couldn't do much, so this one goes by pretty quick. And that's pretty much GT3 completed. I was able to achieve 30% completion. Though I didn't do every single event because Professional League is just too tiring with how many long events it has. It was fun and challenging with the championships and rubber band, but now it's time for most people's favorite game in the series.
C'est le 6 là 4. Il est que au 4. Ça fait... What? La moitié de la vidéo,
Now,
il
at the start of the video, I did say I already completed GT4 with Toyotas, so why am I doing this again now? The original run was on the vanilla version of the game. This time, however, I will be using the Spec 2 version of the game, which has a certain glitch that I'll be using. Normally, your cars can only have a turbo upgrade or an NA upgrade. You can't have both at the same time. However, on version 105 of the Spec 2 mod, if you buy both of these upgrades and then try to change the color of your car, the game will auto-equip both parts, which opens up the door for a lot of wacky Toyota builds. I'll also be switching to the 108 version, which has the track randomizer available. So for example, instead of the Autumn Ring track, the game randomizes it to the Paris track. It feels a bit more refreshing overall compared to just playing on the same tracks. For now, the MR2 is just good enough to clear most of the beginner events. I don't know why, but I saw this car and I was like, fuck it, we ball. For a vacuum cleaner engine, it's got hands. The pace, however, though, was the equivalent of a snail. I honestly just want to get some rare car, some sort of LMP car that isn't from Toyota. That will be set in terms of finances. And then you get the Minolta. I mean, to be honest, even if I get the Minolta, I don't want to use it. Forgets. Are you fucking...
Il a eu la voiture qui voulait pas, la Minolta.
Same race, if I get it, I'm not gonna use it, man. In the same race, and it's the rewards. Okay, I'll have to stick with. I have to stick to my words. I did say I'm not gonna use it. I'm a man of my words. Look at the bright side. We get 500k at least, so meaning I can actually freely tune more cars.
Après, il a dit qu'il avait déjà fait
the
ça.
next car, which will be used to showcase the glitch I mentioned before. This car you can purchase both NA tires, and it grips like it's on racing tires, dude. What? Neighbor turned on the drill again. I present to you the Toyota Classics event. It struggled around Tsukuba against the dome. The ones aren't as tough as the last. Already in the back. Nice.
Ah, les graphismes de ceux-là, ils sont pas mal.
I do not want to much I can do about that. However, I still wanted to play a bit of this game.
From LFA. Trust me, this is enjoy your absolutely batshit insane Yaris. This thing should do 400. This thing should easily do 400. Yeah, told you. This thing is
what?
This thing is pretty quick in a straight line. This is the ascended Yaris.
Il y a une Toyota qui va se...
that, ladies and gentlemen,
Bon.
has been a...
Par contre, sur ce, les gars, je vais devoir vous laisser. Sur ce, je vais devoir vous laisser. Je suis désolé. Je vous dis à demain. Passez une bonne journée, une bonne soirée. À toutes. Bisous, ciao.